Greetings and salutations, this is Imperator Vespasian and his trusty sidekick.
Hello.
That was a strange one.
Hello.
This is a video about our 6mm Cossacks. As mentioned in the last video, if you haven't seen it, go and see it now. We've started doing videos, we're going to do videos the same as our 28mm videos for our 6mm armies, because people seem to really enjoy those videos, so may as well do them. These figures are Cossacks. It's just one standard pack, this, from Bacchus, if you go check them out. These are just normal Cossacks. You can use them for Napoleonics, for any period really where Cossacks were involved. They're just guys on horseback with a lance, and I think they have a musket as well. Off the top of my head, let me just check. Yes, they have a musket as well. So they're pretty generic Cossack figures. They're based all over the place, all over the base, because the Cossacks weren't regimented, they weren't organised, so they didn't. I've based them in sort of disorder because it looks more realistic that way. This is a card for them. I have a card, and I'll just run through the rules first. That's generally what we're doing with these now, isn't it?
Yeah,
do the rules
we
first.
do rules, and we do history, and then we do questions.
Figure wise, they come really easily off the strip. Bacchus, the cavalry come in strips, 3 figures to a strip, and some of them are quite hard to get off. Here I have some later Tartars with the pointy hat, and these guys come off the strip very badly, so you have to get some really good cutting scissors. We've got some lead snippers which are awesome for doing this, but some of the figures can get damaged when you're trying to take them off. These come off really easily. That's one of the best things about these figures. French dragoons as well, they're really easy to take off, but some other figures not so much. Rule wise, Cossacks have cavalry have a hand-to-hand of 6, which is not very good for cavalry. So you roll 6 dice to attack with, it's not that good. Most cavalry have a lot more dice than that, but these, they're not brilliant. They have a shooting of 1, morale 5+, and stamina 3. So if you watch the video about the Cossack infantry are a lot tougher and a lot better overall. However, the cavalry move faster, but there's not as many of them, so that's why it's slightly lower. The carriers move more bow musket, but they only have a shooting of 1 because they're riding on horseback, so they have less shooting. They have bloodthirsty special rule, and they have marauders, which means they can operate without your general needing to be in range. So you can put these guys out right on the flank of your army, and you don't suffer any penalties to moving them because your general doesn't have to be within range to give them orders.
How come?
Because they operate independently of the army. They just do their own thing. Typically, the general wouldn't even give the Cossack orders, or would generally say, we want to make sure they don't come around the flank, and so the Cossacks would ride off and do their own thing. It was up to them really what they did. And typically the Cossacks didn't follow Russian orders anyway, they did their own thing anyway. Cossacks would typically do what they wanted. And they have parting shot as well, which means you can, when if you try to evade with your troops, you can shoot while you evade. But it is only 1 dice, it's not going to make that much difference. But
like the Carthaginians.
Yeah, Parthians. Parthian shot, yes. The Cossacks would ride, when they're retreating, the Cossacks would turn around in their saddle so they could still load and fire their musket. So they'd ride backwards.
What's that?
Yeah, it's the thing they do. So they didn't do it like the Parthians, who were trained to... The Parthian saddle enabled the rider to sort of sit half on it, so you could fire behind you. Whereas these guys, they would actually sit backwards on the horse. And the horse would be pulled by the guy in front. So the guy riding in front would pull the reins of the horse, while the guy on the horse would fire to the rear. It really annoyed the French. Because when the French dragoons were primarily tasked to deal with Cossacks. So the Cossacks would ride around the battlefield and they would fire in all directions because they had guys sat backwards at the back rank, and the Cossacks would just turn and run, and the dragoons would chase them, but they'd be constantly under fire. And the dragoons couldn't fire while they were riding.
And they'd get casualties.
Yeah, so, and eventually you'd get bored. And
yeah,
so,
after you realise all your men are dead, you give in.
And also the Cossacks didn't carry a lot of equipment. They used to have 2 horses. One horse would carry the equipment, and the other horse the Cossack would ride. So the horses were a lot faster than Napoleonic horses or horses of the period. Dragoons typically had huge boots which would weigh them down so they didn't fall out of the saddle. Cossacks didn't worry about that. They were a lot more agile at riding.
Trained. Trained.
Yeah, and the horses were smaller as well, so they were more agile, whereas dragoon horses tended to be quite big. Cossack horses were smaller and could just run faster. But that's just Cossacks for you. As far as fighting the Ottomans go, the Cossacks ran rings around the Ottomans. It was actually the Cossacks who started the war. Because some Tatars lived in Ukraine. They were moved into the Ukraine by the Ottomans to sort of populate it, because the population had either run away and moved to Russia, or they were Cossacks, or they were killed. So the Tatars moved in, and the Tatars used to constantly raid the Russians, and the Tatars attacked a Cossack village, killed quite a few people, carried some women and children off to be slaves. And the Cossacks said, right, we've had enough, and they went to this big town, town. So there were 30,000 people in it, so it's pretty large.
A town.
Yeah, let's say it was a big. Nowadays it'd be a village, but in those days it was a big town, big wall. It was fortified, and the Cossacks attacked it, breached the walls, got into the town. The garrison surrendered, and then the Cossacks killed everyone in the town. They killed the entire population, and that was their way of saying, no more. We're not doing this again. From now on, everyone dies. And that was the. I was going to say that was the excuse. It's not really an excuse. It's actually justified. The Ottomans decided they were going to annex southern Russia at that Russia at that point, and they sent a huge army to invade Russia and found the Russians coming the other way, because the whole thing had been maybe not orchestrated, but had been planned. The Russians are ready for it.
Well, yeah, because the Russian war of peace is currently not being invaded.
Yes, the Russian
they have plans for
peace.
everything.
Yeah, not being invaded at this moment. Yeah, they have no.
A plan for England attacking them. A plan for Ottomans attacking them. A plan for Chinese attacking them. A plan for the Americans attacking them. That's Russia, yeah.
Well, Russia had been on the back foot for a long time. It wasn't even technically a country for quite a while. Russia was really half full of refugees who were fleeing the Ottomans. They'd been conquered, of course, by the Tatars to the west, to the east, and they were constantly being attacked by the west. So Russia had always been on a defensive footing. So it had got in part of their psyche was to defend rather than attack. And this is why it really changed, because the Russians had really had enough. And under the female, the Tsarina, what do they call Catherine. The Russians really got teeth, and instead of having a defensive posture, they moved to an offensive posture, and they stopped building fortresses. Russia built fortresses from the medieval period onwards, massive forts made of wooden fortresses, defences. By this point, by the time of the Russo-Turkish War and the the Russia-Ottoman War and the Swedes invading them, the Great Northern War, the Russians had really lost their tether and they began to get a offensive mindset. So they came back at the enemy in a bigger way. Instead of fighting defensively, they began to offensively attack. And one of the things that made it work was the Cossacks, because the Cossacks were part of the Russian army and they gave the Russians the ability, the eyes and ears of a mobile force. If you're fighting defensively, you don't need eyes and ears because you're sat behind a wall and you wait the enemy to get bored and go away. Throughout the Northern Crusades, the Russians spent most of their time waiting for the snow to come. And when the snow came, the Crusaders went away or froze to death.
The Crusaders aren't dumb.
Yeah. Look at when Napoleon invaded Russia. The Russians retreated and retreated and retreated until winter. And then the Russians began to attack. And the Russians basically invaded Europe. So this is after they'd been invaded, they were able to invade Napoleon's empire and make it surrender. They attacked Austria, Austria surrendered. They attacked Germany, Germany surrendered, well, changed sides. So the Russians really had power to project power.
Yeah, the Russians didn't win the Napoleonic War. Who won the Napoleonic War now?
Well, Britain and Russia. The Napoleonic War was primarily fought between the European Union, which is the modern-day European Union, which is made up of France ruling over Austria, Germany, Italy, Spain. Napoleon had taken all those areas. And then he wanted Russia to join. He wanted to blockade Britain and he wanted Russia to only sell things to Europe. And the Russians said, fine, and they signed a treaty saying we'll only sell things to Europe. And of course they carried on selling things to Britain.
Oh yeah, a piece of paper's like a door, is it?
Yeah, the Russians just ignored it, they didn't care.
It's not like a game where a wall pops up and you can't send things to Britain.
Yeah, so Napoleon was left with no choice. He either his European dream died because Europe couldn't trade with anyone. He would just trade among itself and eventually fall apart. Or they let Britain and Russia have free trade with Europe. And Napoleon didn't want him to have free trade with Europe, so he tried to invaded Russia. That was the idea. Because if you take Russia out, the Royal Navy doesn't exist anymore because Britain can't maintain its ships without rope from Russia.
And Napoleon dared attack Britain because he had to get over the seas.
Yeah.
And the Royal Navy were the greatest navy in the world.
Well, yeah, we sank the French fleet.
Yeah.
Kind of put them off invading Britain.
Yeah, he didn't.
It's a bit hard to invade a country if your fleet's at the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, Britain would have been invaded a lot more had various ships not sunk throughout history. I think the British weather helped. So yeah, that was...
Did it stop the Normans?
No. But it's always useful if your enemy doesn't have anyone defending the beaches when you land.
Yeah, good point.
So the Cossacks were awesome. We did go into a little bit of history lesson there. Sorry about that. It wasn't.
Your fault.
But the point I was going to make is, the Cossacks enabled Russia to project power locally. When it came to long-term goals, if Russia, say, wanted to annex Austria or Germany, you can't really use Cossacks to do that because the Cossacks will want to go home at some point. They're not part of the Russian army. They are paid for they're paid a very small amount for their fighting. They generally rely on stuff they can take off of dead bodies and loot. So if you're not winning, then your Cossacks quickly go home. If you are winning, pretty much all the horses the Cossacks have got are covered in chandeliers and stuff they've stolen, fur pelts or whatever it is they're nicking. So the Cossacks sooner or later get weighed down by stuff. It's like you're playing Skyrim. You're saying, oh, do I go in this cave now, or do I go and sell off all this gear I've stolen?
Yeah, Skyrim does that, because like, you're prepared so hard fast because it's one place, and you say, oh look, I'm halfway through a mission, and my inventory's full.
Yeah, you
Great.
pick up a spoon.
Yeah.
and or a wooden plate, and suddenly inventory's full, and you have to walk really slowly. Yeah, that's how the Cossacks work. Because,
you can go on a horse.
yeah, you can ride a horse. The Cossacks had horses.
Yeah.
So what they do is the Cossacks help the Russian army invade Europe, and then all their horses are full of stuff. So then they had to ride to the nearest town to sell it all off, so they could buy some potions. So that's how we solved it.
Or get some ingredients or some armour.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't buy dwarven armour from a blacksmith.
I go into Dwarven Ruins.
Yeah, dwarven ruins.
Or get ingots.
Yeah, ingots, fine. Don't buy armour ever.
So much.
Don't buy it. Especially not enchanted. Don't ever.
Yeah.
Don't do that. So when the Cossacks returned to Skyrim, they're happy. They have their own land to live in. Yeah, went off on one. Sorry. Questions? Any questions?
Well, the questions I would have asked were asked in the other video.
Yeah, we'll go because we've just done a Cossack video.
Yeah, so if you want to hear questions I had, they'll be in the other video.
Well, that's why I did the two separate videos, because that bit of history I wanted to sort of cover in both videos without talking about the same thing in both videos, because then it'd be boring.
Yeah.
So I could have just done a really big video with the infantry and cavalry together, but
we hate that.
And we're showing the figures as well. That's the whole point. The actual unit. We're showing the unit and how it works.
I know some people watch our channel in Britain are thinking, why do you upload your videos at 1 o'clock at night? The thing is, when we upload videos, we lose our internet.
Yeah, well, we live in the middle of nowhere. Even the Saxons couldn't be bothered to settle here. So we have very, very, very bad internet connection. So if we try and load the videos up in the daytime, the internet just breaks. So we load them up at night when no one's using it. So we just basically leave the computer on overnight for the videos to load up. Which kind of works actually. So we've got into a sort of routine of doing it now. So yeah, that's a bad thing about the internet here. But apparently we're getting new cables soon, so should be good. I'll believe it when it happens. Any more questions?
We didn't have any in the first place.
You didn't have any in the first place, did you? Basing wise, I just mentioned I based them all on Milliput. Should have mentioned that in the other video, shouldn't I? But who cares? Anyway, that's it. I'm not even going to go into that now.
After?
Yeah, it's well.
So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and answer this question.
Oh, question time.
What did I forgot the name already. We've only started. What the name again?
Cossacks.
What did the Cossacks do if the Russian army was losing?
Good question.
Right down the down below.
It's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from him.
Goodbye.